Hello and welcome to Intech Centre online tutorial. My name is Aida. I am one of the maths tutor at Intech Centre and I will be guiding you through the functional skills maths level 2 online sample. To begin with, please note that this video is made for educational purposes only for Intech Centre customers and learners. In no way is this affiliated with City and Guilds, and we cannot guarantee that the answers provided are 100% accurate. In order to access the functional skills sample papers, you can do so by visiting Intech Centre website at www.intechcentre.com. On our website, you will also find the funded courses in English, Maths, IT and Employability. Now, if we click onto the Maths funded, you will be able to find the course description, course layout, and on the right some information about the program itself, such as cost, duration, eligibility, and enrollment. If you'd like to find any other information, you can inquire now, or if you're interested to speak to us about the program. Also, if you're not eligible, you have the option to go private. If we scroll up, we will find that we have again courses in Maths, English, and IT. If I click on Maths, again you'll find the course description, course layout, where you'll have to sit an initial assessment, diagnostic assessment before actually starting the program. By doing this, you'll be able to find out the level that you're working on, the strengths and weaknesses in this subject. On the right, you will find the cost, the duration, and the type of enrollment. Again, if you click on Inquire Now, you can be provided with more information about the course and when you could start. If we scroll back up and we go on to exams, and then you click on Functional Skills Maths Level 2 exam, you will find on this page exam information. Further down you'll find exam preparation information about this. On this page you'll also find a navigation tutorial that will allow you to understand the functionality of the different tools that you will encounter in the actual exam. We advise you to attempt this a few times in order to familiarize yourself with it, with things such as creating a table, bar chart, knowing how to use the tools, where to find information related to the questions at hand. Please see the relevant video of the online navigation tutorial. If I scroll further down, we have the sample tests. Today we'll be looking at sample paper 3. If you click on the test link, it will direct you to the City and Guilds website. Although you're asked to enter a key code, which is not required for sample papers, as they can be accessed by anyone, because you have to familiarize with the exam format, these templates are provided to you for this purpose. Once you click OK, as I said, you won't have to enter any exam key code. Only in the actual exam you'll be required to do so, and this will be provided to you on the day of the exam. So now if we click OK, you have to confirm your details. If any of your details are not correct, please inform the invigilator as soon as you identify the error so that it can be corrected. As we are in the demo, you can click OK so that you can start the online sample paper. Right, here we are being given some more information related to the exam. We know that this is the Functional Skills Mathematics Sample Level 2. The length of the assessment is 2 hours. As this is a demo, you'll be given 4 hours to complete it, but try to stay within the 2 hours, as this will give you a realistic idea of how much you can complete in the actual exam. The idea is for you to practice and improve your skills as well as how long it takes you to complete the actual exam. You may use a calculator, you may use a dictionary. There are 3 tasks to complete, and it's advisable for you to spend an equal amount of time on each task. Make sure you read each task carefully, and be aware that each task out of the 3 has 25 marks. In total, it will be 75 marks. Make sure you check your calculations. Also, please ask at the start of the exam for pen or pencil and paper to make notes. This is the on-screen calculator. If you click on it, it will pop up for you to use. If not, you can use a normal calculator if you ask for one at the beginning of the exam. Now, let's click on the Start button exam. First section, it's about stargazing. There are 25 marks available for this task, and you should check your work as you go along. This task is about attending a stargazing event. They're telling you what a stargazing event is: an activity where people meet together to observe the stars. To complete this task, you will need to work out the cost of the 3 different events. Choose one of the events, summarize your results in a table. Now, if we move forward, let's click Next. Question 1A has 6 marks. You need to decide to go to a stargazing event with friends. There are 12 people in the group. There are 3 possible events to choose from, as we already know, and the cost of the events are shown below. So let's start with Leo. Now, in the actual exam, you may not have time to put all of the information down in a show your working box. So we'll write Leo so that we can separate one from the other. They're telling us that for people the cost is of £64, and it's 15% off for groups over 8 people. As there are 12 people in our group, we qualify for the 15% discount. £64 for 4 people. Because it's 12 of us, it means that we have 3 groups of 4 people. We can do 12 divided by 4 equals 3. This is how we know how many groups of 4 we have. And then it's easier for us to just do 64 times. If you like, you can use the letter X as your multiplication sign, or if you click on signs here, you can find the X there, which is just a bit smaller and it gets put higher, or you can even use the star. They are all accepted in the actual exam. Times 3, because as I said, we have 3 groups. And then if we click on the on-screen calculator, we have 64 times 3. It's 192. So this is the cost without a discount. Now, to find out what the discount is, we do 192 times 100. Is times 15 divided by 100. Or the easier version would be 192 times 0.15, because we divide 15 to 100. And then the answer will be 192 times 0.15. Our discount will be of 28.80 pence. 192 minus 28.80. And let's see how much that will give us. The answer is 163.20 pence. We can put this answer down here. Make sure in numbers that you don't put 163.2. Make sure you write 163.20, because we are dealing with the next event we'll be looking at is Orion. and we have a cost of 144 for 6 people. You can skip the bit where you put 144 equals to 6 people, or you can go ahead and continue so. Again, for division you can use either the /forward sign, or you can use the one from here, whichever you find easier. Using the keyboard maybe it may allow you to complete it faster rather than picking the sign from the tools provided. 144 equals to 6, and then if we move down, we have 12 divided by 6 is 2. Again, we'll have 2 groups of 6 people, therefore we can do 144 times 2, and we have 288. 288, now let's scroll a bit down. 288, we have to find the 1/8, so we'll use the calculator to find out what percentage that represents. And this is 0.125, so that's 12.5%. Again, 288 times 0.125 equals 36 pounds off we have. So 288 minus 36. Make sure you use the calculator, as sometimes when you're in a rush you will end up making mistakes. So we have 252. This will be the cost for Orion. And the last one is a Corpus, where we have 18 pounds per person for groups over 6 people. Again, we have that. We have 12, so 18 pounds equals to 1 person. We have 12 people, and they are telling us extra discounts on event discount. We have buy 5 tickets, get 1 free. 12 people. We have again 2 groups. We can do 12 divided by 5, which gives us 12 divided by 5. We have 2.4 groups. This is telling us that we can apply the price of 18 times 2, times 10, even though there's 2 groups. So we find the cost of 10 tickets, which is 180, and then we know that 2 will be free, so 2 people are not paying. So this is the price for Corpus. Alright, so the first task is finished. We can close the calculator so that we can see what's the next question. In 1b, they are asking us to pay a deposit for the group's attendance at the event. We will have to pay the remaining balance later. And in the table below we can find out how much of the deposit we have to pay. So let's scroll a bit lower. From the question above, you can make a note on paper. This way it will be easier than scrolling up and down if you think that's suitable for you. So for the first one I said 163.20. This is typed here, and we have to find 12.5% out of it. Again, we do times 0.125. Let's find out the deposit. We'll use the calculator again. 163.2 times 0.125. Again, when you do the calculation on the calculator, you don't have to put 163.20. You can just stay with 163.2. We have a 20 pounds point 40 pence to pay as deposit for Leo. You can always edit your show of working if you're used to having it all planned out, and maybe it's easier for you to understand what you're doing. So we have 20.40, 20 pounds point 40 pence. Next one, you can move the calculator aside to see your next event is Orion. Alright, and the cost was 252. This one is the most expensive, and we have a 10% deposit to pay times 0.1. Alright, so again, use the calculator to avoid any calculation errors. We have a 25 pounds point 20 pence deposit to pay for Orion. Alright, also in the exam, just so you know, you don't always have to show your working. If you feel like the calculation on the calculator is correct, you can just put it in here. We'll do that for Corpus. So for Corpus, we'll just use the calculator. We have a cost of 180 for the event, and let's find out how much we have to pay deposit. Is 25%. 180 times 0.25. Again, we divide 25 by 100 to find out the decimal point in order to just multiply with the actual cost. We will have a 45 pounds deposit to pay for Orion. Alright. They are again reminding you to make a note of your answers, as you will need them for question 1D, 1E. That usually is a table where you have to show your results. We will pick one of the events to attend. Out of the three, the cheapest is Leo, clearly. So we'll pick Leo. As explanation, pardon me, this is question 1C. You can write something, for example, like Leo because it's the cheapest event. So I chose Leo because it's the cheapest. Okay, so this is one mark, very easy. You'll have to refer to your answers to make a decision. Question 1D is 2 marks. Is asking you the balance must be paid 4 weeks before the event. Work out the balance for this event and the latest date it must be paid. The balance, so we have 163.20 from the first question. We'll be looking at Leo this time because this is the one we picked, minus the deposit, which is 20.40. Again, we'll use the calculator. 163.20 minus 20.40, and the balance is 142.80 pence. 142.80. The latest date it must be paid. Let's get rid of the calculator. Latest day, 4 weeks. So let's find out the date that the event is going to take place. Is the 24th of May. We can find it right here. May 24th. Now we have to count 4 weeks. So from 24th to the 17th is 1 week. From the 17th to the 10th, 2 weeks. From the 10th to the 3rd, 3 weeks. And then this is a Wednesday. which means the next Wednesday will be the 26th of April. So this is the date we'll put here, 26th April. Good. Now, again, the reminder that you have to make a note of your answers. Don't forget that. Question 1E has 3 marks. There are 12 people in the group. You need to split the cost equally between each person in the group. We have to look at question 1B and 1D. We have to work out the amount that each person must pay, the deposit for the chosen event. Our deposit was 20.40 divided to 12 people. We'll have to take the calculator out again. 20.40 divided by 12, and we have £1.70 deposit per person. Next, we have to find out the balance per person. Our balance was of 142.80, as you can see here, divided to 12 people. Again, we'll click on the on-screen calculator. 142.80 divided to 12. We have an 11.9 pence to pay. 90 pence, sorry. 11.90. So £11 and 90 pence. So this question is finished as well. Question 1F, we have to check one of the calculation in 1D, 1E. I would advise you to make sure you always show your check of calculation, as you can easily get the 2 marks. And this will definitely come up in the exam. So knowing how to do a check of calculation is important. 1D, 1E, you have to use a different method to the one you used originally. The calculation I'm going to check is, let's see, it's good to pick an easy question in the sense that you don't have to do too much work to it. It's good to keep your calculations short. Don't try to lengthen them because it will be harder for you to do. For example, a reverse calculation. So the calculation we are going to check, 1E, we could pick the last one. So let's pick 1E. We have 11.90 times 12 equals 142.80. This is our reverse. We start with the answer, we multiply with the middle value to get to the original value we started with. And this is how you get 2 points. You don't have to explain anything in your check of calculation for the working out. If you click next, we'll move on to the next question. Now, as I was saying earlier, you will have to fill out this table. We have to make a summary table to show the total cost for the whole group and for each person, include the deposits, the balances, and the dates. So when they say to show the total cost, you have to go back to the first question. They don't need any extra information or information that they already provided you with. In these cases, you mainly have to show your results or even end up with completing calculation. In some cases, you have to show the total based on the information you've put in the table. Right, so the table we can start with our event is Leo. Date of the event is the 24th, if I'm not mistaken. 26th April. And then here we'll have to put down the total cost for the group. Don't forget to put signs, currency signs, so that they know you're still talking about money. If you just put the number in, they won't know what you're talking about. So make sure when it's money that you're putting the correct sign. The total cost was 163.20. Next we have to put the deposit, which is of £20.40. We will need another row, so we'll have to click on this tool here. So it's giving us another blank row. We can put down, so we've put the deposit balance. The total balance is of 142.80. For the group, this again will be for the group, because the question is asking you for the whole group and for each person. So we've done for the whole group, and then we'll do it per person. We have the balance, we have the date there. Now we'll do the deposit per person, which is of £1.70. And the next one, the balance to be paid per person, it will be of £11.90. Right, and this is it. We have the total for the groups. You can rearrange them if you don't like it this way. For example, the total cost for the group, because it was the first question, I decided to start with that, but you can also put it at the bottom of the table. We have the date. Let's put here date of event. As long as you have all the information, the way it's arranged doesn't make much of a difference, as long as it's clear and they understand what you're talking about. We can move on to the last question. This one, most of our learners find it trickier. The first thing I would suggest for you is to start with the prompts given. It's saying, the question 3 is saying, you are asked to work out the cost for the 3 different events. To choose one of the events and summarize your results in a table, you need to think about how well you did the task. Make comments about the 3 of the following. Your comments must be about what you did in this task. They're asking us to think about any other information you would have liked, how sensible your answer were, how well your methods worked, anything you found difficult, anything you would do differently if you had to tackle a similar problem. I would suggest to start with whatever you feel more comfortable with. In our case, when they're asking how sensible your answer were, because we chose the cheapest, that's how you can explain in the first comment. And I will also give you examples for the other 2 that we'll be leaving out. We can say my answers were sensible because I chose the cheapest option. This is 1 mark. Next one, you could say how well your method work. My methods worked well because the individual amounts were consistent within the group. Or you could say my methods worked well because I had 3 amounts to compare. You did have the 3 events. And the third one, the third comment, you could say I found that I struggled to calculate the percentage. Percentages actually, because we've done a few. Any other information that you would have liked? You could have said related to this question, I would have liked to know what the chances of seeing the stars were for each site. And as for things you might do differently if you had to tackle a similar problem, you could say I would do nothing differently as all the calculations were allowed me to choose the cheapest site. So again, you can refer to picking the cheapest option. Right, now we can move on to the next question.